Good morning again, grade 10. We are still in the discussion part of module 1, okay, for Q2, weeks 1 to 4. Again, this is weeks 1 to 4. Therefore, I will not give you another module this quarter, okay? I will not give you another module for this quarter, the weeks 3 to 4, because the weeks 3 to 4 is included already in here. So no need to ask in the faculty about my module, our module in Science 10, okay, for weeks 3 to 4. It is included here already. This is quite long. Okay, visible light is a form of electromagnetic wave that enables us to see physical world because this is visible in our naked eye around us. It is one of the raw materials for the process called photosynthesis. I told you yesterday, the other day, last meeting, that this is quite long simply because this is actually the one being absorbed by your plants in order for them to create or to perform photosynthesis. Sure, why do plants need this visible light or photon in order for them to perform photosynthesis? The answer is because light there plays a vital role in the splitting of water. Okay, the hydrolysis, the photolysis, rather. Photolysis happen when the plants during the process of photosynthesis, okay, splits up water, consumes hydrogen, and expel oxygen in the process. Without light, we cannot actually do this one. And of course, the importance of splitting up water or photolysis is it actually powers up, okay? It actually powers up photosynthesis in the process. It replenishes the lost ions or electrons during the process of photolysis or during the process of light-dependent reactions. Anyway, we will not discuss light-dependent reactions in this matter, but hopefully we can actually have the photosynthesis in the process. Okay, in this process, light energy from the sun is absorbed by plants and converted into chemical energy, which is stored in the substance formed called glucose. Okay, your C6H12O6. Okay, so this is one of the vital ingredient, one of the raw material, very vital raw material for photosynthesis in order for the plants to create glucose. Okay, glucose is the simplest form of sugar or carbohydrate, your C6H12O6. When the beam of white light is allowed to pass through prism, it is actually separated into its component lights of different wavelengths. Okay, the phenomenon is called dispersion. Okay, dispersion. A rainbow colors represent the visible light spectrum. Okay, if you examine the visible light spectrum, you will see the colors red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and violet, or Roy G. Biv. Okay, Roy G. Biv. Are you familiar with Roy G. Biv? I'll put it in the chat box. Roy G. Biv. Okay, it actually resembles, or this is an acronym for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So that is actually the light spectrum from your visible light. These are visible to our naked eye. You can actually observe this one. Okay, it is also found in rainbow. What do you think? Why do you think is that Roy G. Biv or this color spectrum can be observed in rainbow? Why do you think so? Why? What causes rainbow to occur? Anybody?
Reflection of light and water.
Reflection of light, water. Yes, it could be. Any other answer? Any other answer? Any other answer? What happens during the formation of rainbow? Have you ever asked your parents or your teachers before when you're still young, why do these rainbow occur? What's with the rainbow? Any answer? Okay. This is one of the quality of science, okay? Science can explain a phenomenon, okay? And of course, this is one vital phenomenon you can actually observe because this is really, really visible in our naked eye. Okay, I have a question. When can we usually, okay, when can we usually observe a rainbow?
After a storm,
After a storm, yes, correct.
And it's
Why
done
is that
raining.
so? After raining, correct. Why is that so?
the light bends because of the water droplets.
Correct. Okay. Now your droplets, correct, Hale. Now your water droplets act as a prism. Okay. The water droplets there is in the form of water vapor. Okay. It acts as a prism. Because it acts as a prism, it actually performs or it actually resembles a phenomenon called dispersion, or sometimes called refraction, the bending of light, the splitting of light. It refracts. Therefore, because of this white light being refracted, you can actually observe the Roy-G beam in the process. This is the reason why you can actually have your rainbow after the rain. Okay? Because of the suspended particles or suspended water vapor in the atmosphere. See, science can explain a phenomenon. Light enables you to see things, okay? Even photography is based on light. Okay? Without light, there's no photography either. Light comes from anything that is hot and always glows. The sun is the main source of light in our planet. In the absence of light, light bulbs are used as a source of light. Electrical energy heats up the filament of the light bulb and makes it glow. Okay. Again, hot and glows, or heat. It produces heat and produces light. Again, the law of thermodynamics can actually apply to this. So we can actually apply the law of thermodynamics here, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. Like for example, for this one, okay, we are actually transforming electrical energy into heat energy and light energy. So that is energy transformation. Another important source of light is the visible laser. Okay, a laser is a device that emits light through the process of optical amplification. Okay, it amplifies the light itself, increasing its power. It differs from the other sources of light because it emits light currently. It emits a very narrow beam of light and focus on the tiny spots. Until now, laser has a lot of uses, even in the field of medicine, even in the field of industrialization or industries, okay, manufacturing devices. So, and manufacturers, the devices being used there, they usually use laser devices in order for them to increase their production. Okay. Although laser has many advantages, it can also be very dangerous if not properly handled or controlled by a skilled technician. Since light is amplified in a laser, it contains, again, a very high concentration of light and is very powerful. Tendency is, some of this laser can actually cause fire because of its very potent concentration. Okay, if the technician fails to hit the target spot, it can cause severe burns on the neighboring areas or fire. Okay, another hazard of a laser light is a possible side effect of skin cancer. Take note, melanoma, the skin cancer. Okay, due to strong pressure on the laser beam, some of the cancer cells may be pushed deeper into the patient's internal body part. This will later multiply again and spread out. That is actually one of the effects. But then again, lasers are actually used to treat cancer. Okay, it can actually use to treat cancer, but with the doctor's prescription. We cannot just use directly laser as a treatment for skin cancer, for example, because it has, again, a side effect in the process. Lasers also are being used to remove tattoos. Or are you familiar with tattoo removal? Okay, have you seen one? They are actually using laser in the process. Okay, they remove the ink, okay, the ink pigmentation on the skin or on the epidermal lining of the skin. Okay, and of course it causes burns. Okay, if you're going to look at the visible light, these are the hierarchy or the arrangement of wavelengths, okay, or electromagnetic spectrum. We have radio waves, microwaves. Infrared is between microwaves and visible light. Okay, visible light has spectrum. Okay, these are the visible light spectrum. As you can see, it's Roy G. Biv, right? Ultraviolet rays, X-rays, and gamma rays. High frequency EM waves. Okay, when you say high frequency EM waves, it has a larger frequency. Okay, and it has a lot of uses also. UV rays or ultraviolet rays. Okay, do you know that some of the newborn babies are exposed to early morning sun? If you have a siblings and or a neighbor that you can observe that they're actually exposing their child, the newborn child, under the sun. Sunlight is the main source of ultraviolet rays. Of course, again, please be careful of exposing the newborns in the direct sunlight or heat. Usually, you will actually let them lie down on your arms, correct? But then again, you need to cover the eyes. Remember that your eyes is really sensitive of EM waves or these ultraviolet waves. Okay, it can cause serious damage to the retina and the cornea of the eyes. The amount of radiation that reaches Earth depends on the sun's elevation. This means that the amount of radiation varies with time of the day. Okay. What should be when should we actually expose the newborn? Okay. What particular time? According to this, it depends on the sun's elevation. When we usually expose the newborn under the heat of the sun? What time of the day? Anybody? Please turn on your camera.
Around 7 in the morning, sir.
11 in the morning. Any other answer? Any other
Sir,
answer?
7 in the morning.
5 to
What was
6?
your question again, sir?
When should we expose the babies, the newborn babies, under the heat of the sun? According to the explanation, Earth depends on the sun's elevation. Okay, the radiation of the amount of radiation that reaches Earth depends on the sun's elevation. So, when should we expose? What particular time should we expose the newborn babies under the heat of the sun? What particular time? 7 to 10? Could be.
7 to 8.
Okay. The correct answer is it should be 7 to 8. Okay. 9 upwards. Okay. It is really dangerous for the newborn babies. Why? Why? Because if you're going to look at the elevation, the sun's elevation, it is actually resembling towards in the middle. Okay. Noon. Okay. In the noon time. So meaning the sun rises up and in a vertical direction, it actually hits the babies directly. Okay. Remember that our ozone layer is quite thin and there is no protection. Again, there is no protection for UV rays. Okay. And it is really dangerous. for the newborn babies. Okay, as you can observe, if you actually expose the babies around 9 to 10 or towards 11, tendency is you can observe that there are some red spots on the skin. Okay, the red spots on the skin indicates that there are some irritation that happens or that happened. That is irritation. So the skin reacts on the heat, reacts on the ultraviolet rays, which creates now a red spots. Okay, those red spots can actually progress into sunburn. That's irritation. During early morning, the sun is still at the lower elevation, above the horizon. At this time, the amount of ultraviolet radiation that Earth receives is still low. That's the reason behind. Thus, newborn babies exposed to early morning sun absorb only low amounts of UV radiation. What is the purpose? Why do we need to expose again the child for UV radiation?
For vitamins.
What vitamin?
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. What is vitamin D for? Okay, I'll just give you an explanation.
For the
Right.
bones.
Our skin contains ergosterol. Okay, ergosterol is a natural substance found in our skin. This is a precursor for vitamin D. It is actually not because of the light or the exposure of the UV rays that we are actually getting this vitamin D. No. Okay, we are getting this vitamin D because we converted the ergosterol in our skin into vitamin D, but it has a one requirement. The requirement there is it should be what? Exposed to UV rays. That's the reason. Okay. Again, the precursor for vitamin D, okay, is ergosterol. Ergosterol needs to be converted into vitamin D. The purpose why do we need to have vitamin D is for the calciferol, okay, or the calcium to be exposed or to be absorbed by our body. Okay. Without vitamin D, okay, calciferol will not be absorbed. Again, without vitamin D, calciferol or the calcium will not be absorbed. The precursor for vitamin D is ergosterol. It should be converted into vitamin D, but it needs UV rays or ultraviolet rays in order for it to be converted into vitamin D. And vitamin D is very vital in the absorption of calciferol or calcium. Question so far? Question?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. Another explanation from science. Okay, again, there are a lot of phenomena that science can explain. Okay, but not all. But not all. Mysteries are there, and it's up for us to find out for the answers of those mysteries. Absorption of UV rays in small doses by the human body is important because UV rays play an important role in the production of vitamin D, which help in the production and absorption of calcium that makes your bones healthy and strong. That's the reason. Okay. However, overexposure, take note, of skin to sunlight results in the absorption of higher dosage of UV rays. This possesses great risks to one's health. Recent studies reveal that too much exposure to UV rays is the main cause of two major, okay, human health problems: skin cancer, your melanoma, and cataract. Okay, or the obstruction in the eyes. Okay. UV rays have wavelength ranging from 40 to 400 nanometers. With this band, UV rays are classified as UVA, okay, UVB, UVC, okay. UVA, take note if you're going to look at this, okay, it depends upon the altitude, okay. UVC is around 100 to 200 nanometers, okay. UVB is around 280 to 350 nanometers, and UVA is around 315 to 400 nanometers. Right? Let's take a look at what are these UV rays. The illustration shows that the three forms of UV rays differ in terms of wavelength and depth to which they penetrate Earth's atmosphere. Okay, it shows that more UVA penetrates Earth than UVB and UVC. Because of this, there is a greater possibility of a UVA to cause more damaging effect to the skin. Take note, you look at the illustration. Okay, since UVA, okay, reaches far more, okay, reaches the ground, so we actually absorb more UVA rather than C and B, because these UV rays will not actually penetrate on the ground. Okay, sometimes they will just stay in the atmosphere, in the ozone layer, in a specific altitude, right? UVA rays have the longest wavelength and the lowest energy than UVB and UVC. Due to its long wavelength, it can enter the cornea of the eyes and reach the lens and retina. Okay, overexposure to this type of UV rays has been linked to the development of different types of cataract. Okay, some research studies shows that it can also be associated with the formation of eye problem called macular degeneration. Okay, macular degeneration is a degenerative disease, okay, in the eyes, in the macular area. Okay, UVB rays have shorter wavelength and higher energy than UVA rays. Normally, lower doses of UVB rays could penetrate Earth atmosphere of the presence of the layer of gas called the ozone layer. Okay, it can usually penetrate in the ozone layer. Okay, these are the one being blocked by the ozone layer. The ozone layer blocks harmful ultraviolet radiation from reaching the Earth. However, some gases and chemicals like CFC or chlorofluorocarbon react with ozone layer, resulting to the depletion. This is now the case. Depletion of the ozone layer in the atmosphere. This allows the more UVB rays to enter the Earth's lower atmosphere. Supposed to be this is the one being blocked by the ozone layer, but because of the harmful gases or greenhouse gases, it actually reacts with ozone layer, and again make the ozone layer thin. Tendency is it allows now more UVB rays to enter the Earth's lower atmosphere. Sure, where can we find our chlorofluorocarbons? Chlorofluorocarbons are present in your aerosols. Sprays ba? Your baygon, what else? Your air fresheners, it contains chlorofluorocarbon. You just need to look at on the back side, okay, in the label of the product you are using. Okay, if it contains chlorofluorocarbons, then do not use that product. It can harm the ozone layer. In lower doses, UVB rays stimulate melanin, okay, a pigment that gives color to the skin to rise up closer to the surface of the skin, giving a sun-exposed person a tanned look or tan. Are you familiar with tan? Tanning or tan? Okay, making your skin brown. This is usually the activity of Americans. They tend to go to beaches and tan their skin. Okay, it's a different thing in the Philippines. No, if Americans are exposing themselves under the heat of the sun to look tan, okay, in the Philippines it's different. We tend to drink a lot of whitening supplements in order for us to look white. Why is that so? Have you ever wondered about it? In higher doses, UVB rays cause sunburn, discoloration, or discolorating pigments in your skin, wrinkles, loss of skin elasticity. So your skin becomes it actually resembles as dry skin. It is not elastic anymore, and other signs of premature aging of the skin. If in case you're exposed more to this, this is the reason behind. Okay, it is good that you expose yourself under the heat of the sun for quite some time, but it is not really good if you're gonna have a higher doses of this. Okay, too much of everything can kill you. That's the reason, that's the concept behind. Okay, you take a little bit of everything. Okay, let's move forward. The extent of the skin and eye damage depends on the strength, okay, of the UV rays, time of exposure, and kind of protection one has, such as appropriate clothing and medication like the use of sunscreens. Okay, take note. This sunscreen can actually help. Okay, depending upon its component. Okay, take note. There are a lot of sunscreens that has a different label and a different component. It depends upon your skin also. Remember that your skin is sensitive with or sensitive to the different chemicals. Okay. Below are some simple measure that will help prevent the short and long-term effects of UV radiation while still enjoying outdoor recreational activities, especially during summer vacation. So let's have this one. Avoid sun exposure between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Avoid. Why? Because during this time, okay, the angle of the sun is quite stiff, very very stiff, that it actually hits directly, or it will directly hit your skin. Okay, wear protective materials such as light colored clothing that can reflect some UV rays, and a wide brimmed hat that protects your eyes, face, and neck. Why colored clothing? Because it reflects light. Okay, it is best that you wear white cloth or white shirts if you're actually in outdoor activities, enjoying your recreational activities. Do not wear black clothes when you're going outside with your recreational activities. Why? Because black absorbs light. White reflects light. You use something that is bright in order for you to reflect the light. Okay? Use eyeglasses with clip-on sunglasses to protect your eyes. Okay? Apply a broad spectrum for UVA, UVB protection sunscreen with SPF 15 or above after every 2 hours. Take note. Okay, the application of sunscreen with SPF 15 above is after 2 hours. Sure. Why is it after 2 hours? After 2 hours, this SPF or this sunscreen will just evaporate by itself. Okay, you need to replenish the lost sunscreen in the process. But usually Filipinos, when they go to beaches and go to swimming pools, they tend to put sunscreen once. That's a wrong practice. Okay, remember that these sunscreens, that these chemicals will just evaporate in the process. Okay, you need to replenish the lost sunscreen in the process. How do sunscreen protect you from UV rays? There are sunscreens that are called absorbers. Okay, they contain chemical substance that, when applied, protects the skin by absorbing the UV rays. Okay, there are two types. Take note. So you need to identify if your sunblocks or sunscreens are absorbers or blockers. Okay. How about blockers? Okay. Another type of sunscreen is a blocker. Okay. They contain chemical substance that absorb and reflect UV rays when applied. It absorbs and reflects the UV rays on the process. Okay. Applied on the skin. They have chemical substance made of metal oxides such as titanium oxide and zinc oxides. Okay. When you buy sunscreen products, choose one that has high SPF value. Okay, SPF means sun protection factor. Okay, a measure of how well a sunscreen product can protect your skin from the damaging effect of UV rays, more specifically UVB rays. If your skin normally gets sunburn after 10 minutes, the application of sunscreen product of SPF 50 will allow you to stay under the sun for 500 minutes without burning. Okay. To achieve this, sunscreen should be reapplied again. Sunscreen should be reapplied every 2 hours. Okay. I think we discussed a lot. Let's continue with X-rays by next meeting. Hopefully you learned something out of our discussion. Do you have any questions so far?
Answer.
Questions so far? Have you learned a lot about our discussion today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to familiarize the topic. Okay, do not forget the lessons that we had discussed. This is not just for paper pencil. Paper pencil is grades, no? This is not just for you to pass. This is for you to internalize. This is highly observable. Okay, you can actually observe this anywhere because we're actually talking about electromagnetic spectrum, electromagnetic waves. So you can always observe this. If you are really observant in your environment, you can usually observe this. Okay, familiarize, do not memorize. Okay, because memorization will actually store the information that you memorize will actually store in your short-term memory. I want you to store this in your long-term memory by familiarizing it rather than memorizing. I think that will do it for today, class. Thank you for your participation, grade 10. And by
Thank you,
the
sir.
way, I am in the middle of checking your outputs. Again, I'm in the middle of checking your outputs on the online learners. Please tell the offline learners. Again, MD, can you do that? Please tell the offline learners that I only received
Yes,
few
sir.
outputs or few modules from them. So it's up to them. Okay. You tell them that it's up to them. If they will pass, I will not force them to pass. You know already my ways when you were still in grade 9. So you know already what could be the consequence if in case. I am really strict with the grades. Whatever you actually give to me, I will just record it out. As simple as that. Okay? I am just here to facilitate learning. Okay? I am not here to create ghost grades or ghost scores. Okay? Again, always and always, grades are not given. Okay? They are actually earned. You can earn your grades through what? Through your activities and your performance tasks. Right? I think that'll be all. Please, MD, inform the offline learners. Have a nice day, grade 10. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, sir.